thank you again to Angelo Petiti and to the entire staff of Petiti Garden Centers for all the work they did on making this incredible program, the Gardener's Guide for Northeastern Ohio, possible. The business at hand now is for you to help make it possible by giving WVIZ PBS the financial support. And you do that with your pledge of $60, $90, $180. And you do it right now by getting to your telephone.
Going to your phone will help make programming like this possible on WVIZ, because going to the phone is what makes everything happen.
You're absolutely right.
On Channel 25. We would like to do more and more of this kind of programming, more how-to, more on all kinds of topics, and it only happens when you make your call. Now, for your $60 pledge today, we have this book available that in fact is called The Gardener's Guide for Northeast Ohio, and this is available again at that $60 level. It's put together from the bulletins, the expert advice compiled from the Cleveland Botanical Gardens bulletins over the last 20 years. It's divided into 3 sections: questions and answers, monthly gardening tips, a series of gardening articles is section 3. And it is just full of information to tell you what to do about all kinds of things going on in your garden. And it's done in a loose leaf fashion, so you can add more pieces into it, add tips that you've gathered from other sources, notes that you want to make about all kinds of information that you use in your gardening every day. And what I like about it too is you can take it out in your garden and use it, because it has this hardcover vinyl that is going to work really well, and if it gets wet, you're not going to worry about it, and it's a great asset for your gardening
In the back of the book, you'll find wonderful things like the guide to pesticide application. These are just articles. Caring for poinsettias, creating a garden space for children, controlling...
Oh, that's a good one. Creating a garden space for children.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yeah.
Controlling insects during the winter, considering safety, preparing to sow and grow, attending to plants and tots outside. Lots of great ideas will come your way at that $60 level. Now, if you'd move to the $90 pledge level, then we have, and there you see the $60 gift again. At the $90 level, we have the actual home video of all of the professional segments that we're having here on WVIZ PBS today. And coming up in just a moment is a wonderful segment on water gardening. As a matter of fact, I see a water garden being rolled into the studio right now. So the next segment will be on water gardening, and all of these segments will be on this home video. You won't have Maureen and I convincing you to support, because you will have already done that. If you have the pledge, you'll get if you have the tape, I should say, you'll get the entire VHS with all these professional segments. Now, also at the $90 level, if you'd like something a little bit different, you can select the Cleveland Garden Handbook. This is this fabulous book by Susan McClure that we've been talking about, some 250 pages, that deals with all of the assets and the resources and the ideas and the thoughts and the tips that make gardening in northeastern Ohio a wonderful, wonderful place.
You know, I'm looking at this, Ken. It talks about foundation plantings. It talks about making the most of shade, what to do. You know, some people, I have sun everywhere on my lot, and that can have its own problems, but some people have all shade. And certainly there are lots of older subdivisions where there is much wonderful tree growth, but it becomes a problem for what to plant in your yard. It also has a section, many people love to be able to grow things in the garden and cut them and bring them in and enjoy them in their home. Put them on the dining room table, or have this wonderful bright display in your white kitchen, for example. There's a section on the 10 favorite cut flowers, like peonies or tulips or coral bells or lady's mantle. Those flowers have wonderful names.
They have terrific names. You wonder where they all come from. And when you see the flower, it normally comes to you very quickly where the name came from. You know, why not forget about the $90 level and the $60 level, and why not just make that $180 pledge, and we'll send you everything. You'll have the Gardener's Guide notebook that was put together by the Cleveland Botanical Garden and WVIZ. You'll have the Cleveland Garden Handbook. You'll have the home video. Excuse me, if you've just tuned in, we've already dealt with garden tools and equipment. We've dealt with annuals and perennials out in the greenhouse with Angelo Petiti, the new ones. We also had Michael Luce here dealing with some of the traditional annuals and perennials. That segment's already been here. We've used fertilizers and compost and mulchers. We've planted in containers. We've dealt with vegetables. Those are just some of the segments that we've done already in the 2.5 hours that we've been on the air.
And Maureen, there's more.
An hour and a half to go.
Yes, there's more coming up. We have water gardens coming up as the next segment, and then Angelo Petiti is going to be back with plant propagation.
And you can see the water garden is coming, I would say.
Yes, it
so
is.
that'll be coming up in the next segment. So get to your telephone right now and make that pledge. As we say, we've got $60, we've got $90, but the best thing is to go and make a $180 pledge, and you'll have the answers to all of your questions about your green thumb and how to make your garden grow right here in northeastern Ohio.
And while you're making that phone call right now to that number that's on your screen, let's go and hear what the next question is that came about when we were at the Cleveland Home and Garden Show.
Hola, mi nombre es Alejandro y soy de Chile y quisiera saber qué vegetales puedo plantar en abril.
What vegetables can you plant in April? That's a really good question because, you know, we talk a lot in Cleveland about, and in Northeast Ohio about, well, you know, you can't do things till after the first frost and you need to wait till May, but that's not always true. There are some things that really like the cool soil, and that includes lettuce, beets, radishes, spinach, carrots, Swiss chard. They can be put directly into a well-prepared planting bed. Onion sets and broccoli, cauliflower and cabbage plants can also be set out early in the spring. They really thrive in the cool weather. Then again, there are other vegetables, as we've talked when we talk about flowers, that we really need to wait until May. And those include tomatoes, peppers, squash, and corn. They need that warmer soil, so you need to wait a little bit longer.
If you're just tuned in, what you are is 2.5 hours into a 4-hour special program excuse me, called The Gardener's Guide to Northeastern Ohio. It's a wonderful program that's dealing exclusively with issues that surround Northeastern Ohio gardening. And boy, do we have a terrific group of thank you gifts to send your way if you'd become a member of WVIZ. At the $60 level, we have this great book of tips, questions, and answers that and articles and, well, I said tips to begin with, that were put together by our friends at Cleveland Botanical Garden. It was assembled from over 20 years of their members' newsletter, and they put it all into a book for the very first time to say thank you to all of you here in Northeastern Ohio from the experts at Cleveland Botanical Garden. That will come your way at 60. At 90, you'll have your choice of either the home video or, if you'd rather, the wonderful book, the Cleveland Garden Handbook. Now, we hope that you'll just jump right to the $180 level, and we will really send you the big gardening package of all three of the incredible gardening items that we have to truly give you a green thumb here in Northeastern Ohio.
What about this, Ken? Wouldn't these make a great gift for somebody?
Oh, they really would.
Let's say if you got you called in and did the $180 pledge level, you'd have 3 items: the videotape, both of the gardening books, and let's say your mom or your sister or your cousin is someone who loves working in the garden, loves to always have their hands in the soil, and there might be Mother's Day coming up, there might be Easter coming, there might be a birthday coming, or some other holiday where you'd like to give a gift. You could take that $180 pledge and divide these up and use them for gifts.
You know what I would do, though, in that case? I'd make a $360 pledge.
Keep a set for yourself.
And give the other stuff
what
away.
What a great idea.
As a matter of fact, you can also pledge, by the way, by telephone or on the web. If you'd like to pledge on the WVIZ website, let's find out more about that right now.
Becoming a member of WVIZ PBS is easier than ever. Pick up the phone and call the number on your screen. Or if you prefer, you can pledge online at www.wviz.org. Just click on Become a Member, and you can make your pledge of support and choose from a wide variety of thank you gifts using the secure server. So take your Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or check debit card to the phone or your computer and become a member of WVIZ PBS, where you belong.
If you haven't been to WVIZ's website, it's all revamped. WVIZ PBS has a new website with lots more information on it than ever before, and that special ability now to be able to actually pledge online. So you can do it at your leisure. You can take a look at the premiums that are there. Do you hear water running?
I do hear water running.
Did somebody leave the water on? What's happening here?
I was just about to say to you, a few years ago, I was fortunate enough to have one of the gardens out at the Home and Garden Show. It was done for me. And what was the first thing I wanted in my garden? Running water.
Running water.
We have running water in our garden at home. It's just something that's so soothing and so much fun to have in any garden setting. And coming up next is a wonderful segment with Julie and Jeremy and their newest guest, who's going to deal with water gardens. So as I'm telling you, this show has something for everyone, but right now the one missing from the program is you. If you've called and pledged, thank you. If not, we're standing by, and we'd love to hear from you right now with your pledge of support for WVIZ PBS. It's where you belong. Watching great programming, it's where you belong as a member. Let's go over to the Water Garden with Julie Henry and Jeremy Bishko.
And call while you're there.
Boy, is there anything more relaxing and soothing than the sound of running water? Well, you can have a water garden right in your own backyard. If you don't have a yard big enough for a little lake or a pond, Bill Hoffman from Pond Supplies of Ohio is here to show us what you can do in the space you have to create a beautiful water garden. Thanks for being with us, Bill.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
So, Bill, how are we going to get started here?
Really depends on the size of space that you have available. You can do a water garden in an area 2 foot by 2 foot. You can do an area 50 by 50 feet or as large as you want. There's really no restrictions there. You can do a lot of water gardening in a small area or you can do a large area.
Well, what are the basic components that you need in your water garden?
Well, once you determine where you want to do your water gardening, you need a pump. We have the pump in this filtering system here. This is a mechanical filter, so any large pieces of leaves, seed pods, things are pulled into there and filtered out with a filter mat. And then we have pump, hose, and some type of a filtering system, a mechanical. We have also a biological filter here. This is where bacteria can grow that naturally occurring in lakes and streams will filter out the fish waste and convert that ammonia, which fish waste is primarily.
So this would all be buried basically under the ground, and you would just see the top part of it?
Right.
How do you hide it?
This is a demonstration unit, and we have our rubber liner here, so you can dig a hole 2-3 feet in the ground, depending on what zoning is in your area. Lay that down in the ground, and then they come out. This area here is surrounded with dirt, so you can raise this up to create a large waterfall, or you can have a lower waterfall if you want a more soothing sound, not so much sound there. And this goes all the way down to the ground.
Oh, so that's just hidden and buried under the ground.
That's hidden. The hose goes around the pond, so you don't see any of that. And if you wish to layer your pond in or cover the liner with gravel, stone, you can make it look very, very natural.
I noticed some water hyacinths in here, and a very smart man once told me these make one of the best filters in your pond, as well as I know when I work with kids. Kids are mystified by the fact that they have these huge root systems on them.
Well, water hyacinth are one of the best filtering systems known to man. In fact, they use it to clean gray water, sewage water out before they put it back into the rivers.
And these will flower, beautiful hyacinth type of flower?
Beautiful flowers in the summertime. So plants, really, this is a small root system compared to what they look like during the summertime, but the best filtering system known to man are plants and plant roots. So really, water plants in general are a phenomenal plant that we're going to see more and more of to keep our waters clean in nature.
And I know a lot of people are intimidated because they think a water garden takes a lot of effort, a lot of maintenance. And from what I've heard, a smaller one takes a lot more maintenance than a bigger one.
That's absolutely right. A small ecosystem, and what we're trying to do is maintain a balance between the fish, the plants, bacteria, your filtering system in general. And so in a small system, it's much easier to upset that balance. Where a little larger system, it's much more easy. So we do recommend a little larger system. The other thing is the maintenance depends on how much you want to invest in your pond to begin with. A small pond, the pump in the very bottom of the pond, very small filtering system, mechanical filter, you may have to clean that filter out maybe once a day, once a week. Some of these other filtering systems, once a week, once a month. So there's quite a bit of a difference depending on what you want to invest in your pond from the get-go.
Now, is it like an aquarium where you have to constantly test nitrate levels and pH and things of that nature?
No, we recommend before you put your fish in, because once you put your fish in, it's very difficult to change the pH. But check your pH before you put your fish in. Make sure that you're in the correct range between 7 and 8.2, and then once you've got that balance there, periodically you should check it, but not often.
Now, what kind of fish? Can I go to the fish store and get angel fish or whatever kind of fish I want, or are there particular fish?
Well, there are a lot of fish used in water gardens, but the primary three are comets or goldfish, shabunkins, which are a very colorful fish, a poor man's koi, and then koi, which can be very costly or very inexpensive depending on the grade. But koi are becoming a very big hobby in some parts of the country, and in Japan definitely. These are grown for their definite colors, the reds, the yellows, the blacks, and how defined they are, and they actually have contests to determine which is the winner, which is the best looking fish.
And what's the price range? I know it must be very wide depending on small or large system, but what kind of price range are we talking about?
You can really get started